It's Movie Time is produced by John DeSando. Listen to shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando,
And I'm Audrey Harkonen.
and this is Movie Time. So let's go back, Audrey,
Let's go back.
about 65 million years.
Yeah,
Whoa.
way back.
Oh boy, and no need even to say the BC, 65 million to 65 million, we
Yeah.
don't care. Anyway, it's a new movie starring Adam Driver, and it's a sci-fi. Now I especially asked you to be here because you do not care about sci-fi, do not know much about sci-fi.
It is not my genre, no.
So I need that fresh perspective. So Audrey, let's start out simply. What's the story?
I had a hard time figuring out what the story was. First of all, there's so little dialogue that that's
Little?
yeah,
Almost
yeah.
none.
Huffing and puffing is the extent of the dialogue.
That's it.
Yeah, it is a convoluted story. I can't tell whether it is supposed to take place in 65 million BC or it is in the future, and somehow the craft that he's driving or he's steering ends up back in 65 million.
All right,
BC.
so this is the way it goes in sci-fi. So they're in suspended animation on a 2-year trip way out there.
Yeah.
All right, and he's the captain of the ship. And
Right.
he's got several people suspended
Right.
in animation there. And meteors, suddenly they get a meteor shower.
Right.
And this is unprecedented for them. They hadn't appeared on any of their charts. And it knocks them somehow back 65 million years.
Okay.
All right, so it's a mixture of what you have.
Alrighty then. All right. So
And in fact, Audrey, let me add this interesting part. I don't believe they ever know that it's Earth that they have come back to. But remember, the first screen we get is the director's telling us that the ship has landed on Earth. And I find it kind of humorous that they had to do that.
they had to do that.
Right, because otherwise
You would have
you
never
would never know.
You would never know.
Now, once you get to the dinosaurs and you've got the meteorite coming,
Right, then you kind of have a clue. Yeah, you have a clue. But the other component of this is, so he has this superior technology that's telling him after the crash that there's another craft of some kind or component that he's got to go in search of in order to escape.
you got it.
this.
It's the escape pod that was attached to theirs.
Okay,
And
so
they've
they've got to find it.
Right, that's on the top of a mountain or somewhere.
Right.
But it's so, again, it's so almost humorous to me. They have this technology that tells them where it is, yet they're crashed. Completely, everything is broken.
Yes.
People are dead, but the technology is still telling them where it is.
Where it is.
But they better have it because it's coming.
Yeah,
Both the dinos
Yeah.
and that meteorite, which even every school kid knows, is going to wipe the heck out of Earth
Right.
when it hits the Yucatan 65 million years ago.
Right.
All right, so essentially, to me, it is the story of survival.
It's an action pick. It's an action pick.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. And this would translate into any time frame, any costumes, anything. Yeah, it is. You're in dire straits. You have to get somewhere to safety, and there are all sorts of challenges, difficulties, dinosaurs with great big teeth drooling at you and chasing you in order to get there. And it's jungle, so
Yes, right.
it doesn't get any better than
There's
that.
a little bit of Jurassic Park in it.
A lot of Jurassic Park.
Yeah, and although it lacks the characters, and that messed me a bit about it, because if anything happens to one or two of them, they don't have a story.
Well, that is very true.
Right,
Right.
so we almost know it's going to end well, probably, right? Because there's just the two of them.
Right.
And
Right.
and I love too. This kind of another entertaining part of it for me is how the dinosaurs go from little raptors, all the way up to the big T-Rex.
Right, that peers into the cave that they're hiding in. Of course, it's just a classic. And there are surprises, and there are you jump in your seat. There's no question about that.
They do have
Often
jump
time.
scares. Yes,
Yeah,
they do.
very, very, very well done. The sound that accompanies the film is just spot on.
Yeah.
Adam Driver does a lot of huffing and puffing.
He does.
He's on the run all the time. And then there's the little story of the survivor, who is a little girl. He's saving her life, which of course is always.
Yeah, mommy and daddy didn't make it.
Yeah, well, and it was hard to tell, where did she come from in the first place?
Well, right.
Must have been one of those
Exactly.
persons that were on the craft or the ship of some kind.
I almost thought she was already there.
Well, that's what I thought
I
at
know,
first.
but yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But then I figured it out. She doesn't speak his language.
Right,
So she comes from some mountain community or something. I don't know where she comes from.
right,
But they don't speak our language.
yes.
So that adds another turn of the screw to the story, which is not a bad one. As you noted, there's very little of any dialogue in
Yeah,
this thing.
yeah.
And so therefore, there's an awful lot of emoting going on.
Which also helps. You've got lots of heavy-duty action, and then you have these little pauses for
Yeah.
these moments with this child, and that helps to relieve a little bit of the tension. But you know, there's a dinosaur behind them. So
It is good. And you know something? The dinos are not bad.
they're well done.
I
well
know.
done.
And I would guess that their budget for CGI is limited.
Yeah.
My guess, it looks like a limited budget film.
Yeah.
It actually, the directors, Scott Beck and Brian Woods, were both writers and producers of A Quiet Place. I don't know if you ever saw
I
that.
did not,
It
but you
wouldn't
had
be again
mentioned
yours.
it, yeah.
Yes, I've mentioned it before, how much I liked it. John Krasinski's.
Mhm.
Oh, it's just really very fine horror film in the sense that they're beset, the family is beset by monsters somewhere out there that will attack them the minute they make a noise. So that's why everything has to be quiet.
Quiet. Yeah.
It's a cool premise.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it works out very well. So they're prepared to do this film. Once again, they've got to keep away from the dinosaurs, and so therefore they do really have to be quiet. So it's another quiet place in a
Yeah.
different way.
In a different way,
Yeah.
in a different way. It's interesting that you made that observation about the dinosaurs and these Jurassic things start out small, they're flapping around, and the next encounter, they're a little bigger and a little bigger. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because now that I hadn't thought about that.
You know, I've watched enough of these movies that I don't really get scared anymore. So I'm really interested in how they do it, as opposed to the getting scared. And
Right.
you, as a newbie, rightfully could be scared.
Well, yeah, I was, there were times when I jumped, when I was made to jump. I wasn't expecting, though, I know something, oh, there it is. Yeah.
And the idea of going back to Earth, I think is not new. I mentioned when we were there that I thought it reminded me of the Twilight Zone, where
Yes.
astronauts landed somewhere that they eventually find out is Earth.
Yes.
So they just didn't make it, and they came back and they thought they had landed on a new place. And I
Yes.
really like that. What I like about it is that it forces us to face ourselves in a kind of commentary that you can't escape. You're going to have to face what's here, and so it works a little bit that way.
Yeah.
And you mentioned too the pace of it and the fact that things go along in a particular way. An awful lot of set pieces.
Yes.
So it doesn't mean that the plot moves to a certain point. The only point that's necessary here is that they find that ship.
Right.
So each set piece is another chance to show the two of them together.
Yes.
And how about her? How does she function in this thing?
Well, the little character is very, not nearly as scared as I would have expected a youngster to be.
Ariana Greenblatt
Yes.
is the actress, and
Yes.
she's marvelous.
Yeah, she does a really good job. She's very cool, and she's
Yes.
very restrained, and she is dependent on this person that she can't really communicate with, but she shows a great deal of resilience and a great deal of, she too has a great deal of creativity. She rescues him by leaning on a branch down into the quicksand.
Yeah, right, another set piece. He's
Yeah.
in the quicksand.
Yep.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I can feel myself going down in
Yeah, yeah.
All right, Audrey Harkonen. All right, Audrey. All right, Audrey.
Very good.
Yes. All right, Audrey. Listen to that. How that works.
Yeah.
All right, Audrey Harkonen. We are at the point where people are going to have to go. Our audience is going to have to go to Backtalk to hear more. If you
Okay.
can believe anybody would
Yeah.
want to do that.
I don't know, maybe they do.
All right,
Maybe
our
they do.
WCBE, the podcast experience. But Audrey, what do you have to say to our audience about this film? What do you recommend?
I did enjoy it, at just looking at it as an action film, and it was great fun, and it moved along quickly and well done.
And of course, you were accompanied by Wayne and me, who are two pure adolescents when it comes
Oh
to
my
movies,
gosh,
so-
yeah, giggling and laughing the whole time.